Hello, Michelle. How's it going today?
Good, Lindsay. How are you?
Good. I have a question for you. Are you
Oh,
ready?
okay. Yes. What is it?
Good, good. So, is there anyone in your life that you bicker with? Anyone at all?
Ooh, anyone that I bicker with. So I would say that when I've shared this before, when I was a teenager, I used to bicker with my dad a lot.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
but
Ah,
always a good relationship. But I would say that's,
yeah.
and I mean, even now we always joke about it now, but just, that we are gonna like that we might argue about something or we kind of tease each other. So I'm gonna say my
Yes.
dad, but my dad and I are extremely, extremely close.
Yeah, sometimes that can bring you closer later in life or even at that time. I mean, some people build connection through bickering, right? It really just depends on the personalities,
Mhm.
doesn't it, Michelle, in a
It
way?
does, and because my dad and I are both good with joking around, we usually get over things
Yeah.
pretty fast, and then we'll just
Yeah.
make jokes about it.
Yeah. As long as no one's taking it too personally. So this is what we're getting into today, this concept of bickering. So what does that even mean? I bet our listeners
Yeah,
are listening in and wondering. We're going to get to it.
yeah.
But at the end of the episode, why should our listeners hang out to the end?
Yeah,
What
well,
are we
on
going?
Spotify, we are having so much fun doing these polls with you guys because you can
Yes.
interact with us. We ask you a question and then we will share the answers at a later date. So we get to really interact with you, see what you think about a certain topic. So stay tuned until the end on Spotify so you can hear what the poll is.
Amazing. Yes. And I do want to say a shout out to two listeners who left us a 5-star review for All Ears English. Special thank you to Jian Zhang and Yang Mario from Morocco. So these two listeners took the time to go and review our podcast with a rating and a review wherever they listen.
Hmm.
Guys, if you want to hear your name announced on the show and get a big thank you from us, we would love to read your review. Michelle, when we get these reviews, I usually send them over to you
Yes.
and we feel great when
Yes.
we hear from you and you love the show, guys. All right?
Yes. It's really great.
So, leave your review today. So, let's get into it. Michelle, I think our listeners are waiting. They're ready. What does
All right,
bicker
let's go
actually
into it.
mean? Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
So bicker is a verb and it means to fight, not necessarily in a super intense way though, and not
Right.
physically.
Mm.
Bickering to me, when I hear bicker, it's maybe for a partner, maybe for an old friend, and it's a little
Yeah.
bit light-hearted. I mean, I've heard two of my friends, they bicker a lot. It's a husband and a wife. And so I know they have a
Ah.
very good relationship, but sometimes we'll be out with them or whatever, we'll be talking to them and they just kind of bicker and maybe roll their eyes at each other just in a light-hearted way though.
All right, Michelle. So, one important distinction here is that when it comes to bickering, we would usually not swap in the word fighting, right? It's
Right.
a different level, it's a nuanced difference. Yeah.
Right. It almost has a level of humor to it in a weird way. Oh,
Yeah.
they're
Banter.
bickering. Right. It's just it has a different feel than fight.
It's like the darker side of bantering. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like bicker and banter. Banter is
Right.
usually more positive, and bicker
Right.
might be the same energy, but a little bit slightly more negative, but not like fighting or
Yeah.
arguing or
No.
yelling. It's never like that.
It's like
Okay.
like kind of
Yeah.
that feel.
Right. I think I
Yeah.
used to bicker with my mom a lot, when I was a teenager. So in the
Yeah,
same
that's
way that you bickered with your dad, I think I bickered with my mom.
okay.
I think it's like the teenage daughter mother energy.
Right. Right.
I think that's actually probably more common from what I've heard. Just
Yeah.
anecdotal
Yeah,
evidence.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
All
yeah.
right. So let's see. What's another way to say fighting? Now, this one is more intense.
Oh, I missed it or no. Oh yeah, at each other's throats. To
Woo!
be at each other. Now we're gonna take it up a notch here, right?
Yeah.
And we are moving into fighting. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
nasty, a bit nasty,
yeah,
right?
this is more nasty. This isn't, but this is also, I wouldn't say physical.
No,
Um,
no, no, no,
this
no.
is really just a verbal argument. Um, but on the nastier side, so you could say they were really at each other's throats about who should pay for that dinner.
The most awkward thing in the world is when you are out. Let's say you're out with a couple, like there are three
Yeah.
of you, and the couple, and then you having dinner, or even with your partner or whoever, just being in a close group when a couple starts fighting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's cultural. That
Yeah.
actually could be cultural because we have a very strong value in American culture towards privacy.
Yeah.
And I think our privacy, like, I don't know, lights go off. We're like, oh, this feels like something that should be happening in private.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way? Like, how do you react when let's say you're a third wheel
Oof.
and you're out for dinner with your good friends who are a couple and they start fighting? Like, how do you feel? What do you do
I
to get
haven't
at each other's throats?
So I haven't been I haven't had that situation happen with a couple, but I have had that situation happen with two friends of mine, and they were at each
Yeah.
other's throats, like, it was not good.
Yeah.
And
That's
I
interesting.
yes, and I was on this we were on the sidewalk.
Oh boy. Oh
And I
boy.
ended up I actually had to go anyway, and I ended up just walking away.
You're like, peace out. Peace out. I'm gone.
Yes, it's
You guys
true.
can work this out for
Yeah,
yourselves.
I'll never forget that. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yep. I just
Nice.
walked away.
I think, just going back to what I mentioned about culture, I think it's a little more awkward to see a couple fight because I think it goes back to privacy, and
Mm.
it's like breaking that privacy bubble of between a couple. I don't know. It's like family drama. It feels like
Mm.
family drama at that
Mhm,
point, which
mm.
feels like it shouldn't be but I wonder if our listeners would say the same thing because I think there's different values towards like confrontation in different cultures
Yeah.
and what should happen at home and what should happen in public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, very interesting
Yeah.
point.
Okay. Well, I wish we could get into that thread a bit more, but we're going to come back to another term. Now we're really getting into it, Michelle. What is it?
This is a fun one. This is to fight like an old married couple. Lindsay, what do you think? You know this one, right?
Yeah, this is so fun. I mean, think about old married couples. They just say what they think.
Right.
There's no there's no hiding, there's no
Right.
pretending to be anyone else at that point. You've lived with someone for 30
Yeah.
years. You are who you are. You're very comfortable with yourself. You're going to fight just true to yourself, I guess.
Right.
And yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be you could use this about an actual married couple, but you could also use this about, two friends. They just, oh, you guys are fighting
Yeah.
like an old married couple. It's not necessarily that you have to use it about a married couple.
Exactly. Actually, I would say that usually it's not
Yeah.
used to talk about the married because
Yeah.
why would you say like if they are a married couple? It makes no
Right.
sense. So it's just the nature of the way you're fighting. It'd be better to use for two roommates or maybe two coworkers, depending on the company, I guess. If it's a
Mm.
dysfunctional environment,
Right. Yes.
maybe.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
or cousins, brothers, and I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, exactly. So it just conveys a sense of closeness with each other, and you don't really care. You just say what you think,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So you could say, "Stop it! You guys are fighting like an old married couple. Let's just move on."
Do you know anyone like this who fights in this way? Maybe a brother sister. I don't know. What
Um,
anyone?
I mean, I've had friends like my best friend when we were in high school. We used to fight like an old married couple, and
Yeah.
he's a guy, and so I guess also there was a like, oh, they're like an old married couple.
Right. I love that. I love that. So that's a fun expression. And again, we don't really use it for people that are married.
Right. That's
Otherwise
the
it doesn't make any
interesting part.
sense.
Yeah.
You would go to, being at each other's
Right.
throats or maybe bickering. So what would be another one? Another
All right.
word?
Let's do one more. So this one is a fun one to say. Squabble.
Squabble. Interesting. So it can be a noun or a verb.
Yeah.
So quit squabbling and let's focus.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yep.
It-
Yep. Yep. And
yeah.
or you can have a squabble. This one I wouldn't say as common, but it's a good one to know just for some varieties or some fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Lindsay, I mean, is a squabble serious? How would you explain a squabble?
I think just a brief kind of yeah.
It's more like
Closer,
bickering if
maybe
I had
closer
to.
to bicker.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's closer to bickering than any of these.
Yeah.
And the thing to remember, I think sometimes these fights come up and they're about something else, right? You
Yeah.
might be
Uh-huh.
squabbling about something small. I feel
Uh-huh.
like bicker or squabble would be around, oh, where to go for dinner or what
Right.
type of pizza to order. Oh, you
Right.
always want to get meat on your pizza, but I'm trying to get better with my diet and
Yeah.
all these things. This is bickering, squabbling, but it's usually not about the pizza.
Right, right,
Right,
right. There's
Michelle?
some deeper meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good
Yeah.
point. I mean,
Right.
so let's talk about our poll for today. So Lindsay, what is our poll?
Yes. So fun. So we're curious, who do you squabble with the most? You can squabble with anyone. Usually it requires being close to someone, right?
Mhm.
To feel comfortable squabbling. It's not a stranger on the street,
No,
really.
no, no, no.
But who is it? Is it your partner, like your life partner? Is it your siblings? Is it your parents? Is it your friends? Or is it your colleagues? I'm really
Mm.
curious to see these results. And because this is one of our major polls, we're going to announce the results for this one.
Yes,
Michelle.
yes.
So check back in.
I'm
Right?
excited. Wait for that. All right. So should we do a role
Yes.
play?
Okay, let's do it. So here we are talking about our friends.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So did you hear Lauren and Rob bickering yesterday?
Yes, they were at each other's throats.
Seriously. Honestly, they sounded like an old married couple.
Oh my gosh, you're right. They really love to squabble.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's kind of a compliment to how close you are to someone when you can bicker and squabble
Yeah, that's what
because
they say, that you're not holding things back.
right. And your relationship is probably stronger than this one event,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's kind of a good thing. It just depends. So here I said, did you hear Lauren and Rob bickering? So really, right?
Right.
Yelling and yeah,
And then
fighting
I
with each
took it
other.
up a
Yeah.
notch. So I was basically saying I was kind of saying they were more than bickering. I said they were at each other's throats.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you could still use fighting as kind of the umbrella term
Yeah.
right here, but it's not the same intensity as, oh, they were in a fight. No, they
Right.
were just kind of bickering.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but then maybe we are raising it up to the level of a fight because they were at each other's throats, which is we said is more intense. Those are real nuances for our listeners
Mhm.
today.
Yep.
Then I said, seriously, honestly, they sounded like an old married couple, right? So they're
Mhm.
they're not a married couple, and that's why we can use that analogy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes,
And then I
good.
said they really love to squabble. Some people are
Yeah,
just looking for a fight sometimes.
sure, sure. Or some people were raised in a family where that's how you build
That's
connection,
true.
right? They're definitely even within American culture, maybe your family, sometimes do you ever have where maybe you dated someone in high school or college where you went to their home and they were that kind of family,
Mhm.
just kind of bickering all the time, but in a
Mhm.
in a lighthearted good way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's not the family I grew up in at all.
Right.
I don't
Well,
know.
my family is very Dan always comments that my family is very sarcastic with each other. We tease each other, like,
Interesting.
and I never identified I mean, yeah, I guess it is true, but I wouldn't have labeled my family as that. I wouldn't have even thought of that. It's just how my family is. And, but
Yes.
until he pointed it out, I'm like, "Really? I don't know." Yeah, we like to have fun. We're yeah,
Yeah,
but
so that is yeah, so every family has their own little subculture,
mhm.
their
Yeah.
norms and rules and expectations.
Yeah.
Super interesting. So guys, take this as an opportunity to think about your family.
Yep.
What is the
What's the
status quo
family
in your family
dynamic? Yeah.
and in the larger culture in which you live, your country culture? What are the expectations around fighting in public?
Yeah. Mm.
It's one fun anecdote is that I've heard that there's a big difference between Bostonians and people here in Denver.
Yeah.
So my partner noticed that when we moved to Denver, when we had been living in Boston, couples always fighting in the street. You always in the North End or different part, you hear them yelling at each other in the street, and you can
Uh-huh.
hear it echoing. There's just a cold. Maybe it's a New England thing.
Uh-huh.
People are less kind of like soft around the edges, not afraid to get into
Interesting.
fights in New
Uh-huh.
England. Whereas in Denver, you would never see that. You just don't see it.
Ah, very
So
interesting.
you could see this in different cities and regions
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Super interesting.
definitely. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, really good stuff. All right, we've gotten into some good ideas today, guys. Go participate in the poll and then go and review the show. If you love our style, we'll try to announce your name on the show. All right.
Absolutely. All right, Lindsay, this was fun. And guys, remember to answer that poll and try not to bicker today.
Yeah, try not to bicker. Michelle, you have a good day. I'll
Thanks,
talk
you
to you
too.
soon.
Bye.
All right, bye.